There's lots of confusing stuff out there coming out of the church. So here's the question I want to just kind of get us all back to today. The question I think we need to ask ourselves is this: do we really understand what we are getting ourselves into when we sign up to follow Jesus? We got to be clear about that. Do we really understand what we are? You say yes to Jesus like Leanne did. Do you understand what we're getting ourselves into when we sign up to follow Jesus? The other question is this: do we really understand the full scope of this larger story that we find ourselves living in? Do we get those pieces? See that scene in the movie, or not from the movie, the show Walking Dead. Rick Grimes is riding into Atlanta. That's the city of Atlanta. Clop, 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 clop. You can hear the horses' hooves. Why? Because everything's peaceful and quiet. Now, it's obvious something's happened because there's tanks in the street, right? But everything's peaceful and quiet until what? Until he turns the corner, and all of a sudden, zombies everywhere. And zombies are after him. Do you see what this moment is for Rick Grimes? If he hasn't already, suddenly he's aware of the full scope of this larger story that he finds himself living in. And every day from now on, for the rest of his life, he is in a situation where he must fight for his life. This is the piece I think we often miss in the church. Jesus came to give us eternal life. It is a free gift. You believe it, you receive it. That part's easy. He came to give us life to the fullest so we can have life to the fullest. That part requires a fight. That part requires a fight. We may not be surrounded by zombies like Rick Grimes, but what is true of him is true of us too. Every day of my life from now on, I must fight. I must fight. And I think too often in the church that we miss that. You know, I'll be honest with you. I honestly sometimes don't like that part of being a Christian. I don't. I like easy. Anybody else here like easy? I kind of like easy. I've been waiting for 7.5 years for this story to get easy that we call Discovery Church. I've been waiting for this thing to get easy. And I'll be honest, we're not 85 people meeting in a high school anymore. You know, we're not on the south side of $3,000 a week in offering, on the verge of going broke every single week. You know, if it's just we're broke at a higher level now. Still broke, but at a higher level. You know, but there's lots of things that have changed about that, but it's still hard. This story still hasn't gotten easier. In the last year and a half since we moved in this building, we've lost leaders because they just didn't feel good about the vision and the way we do things anymore. We've had staff turmoil. We've had to fight for unity with our staff and in our leadership. We've had to do that. We've had constant criticism from outside, from people outside the church. You know, we've had financial challenges and volunteer challenges inside. I talked about that a couple weeks ago, and by the way, your response has been phenomenal. Thank you so much. That's so good for my heart. And so here's the deal, right? It's not easy street. I keep waiting for it to get easier. I want it to be easier. And then I pause and I go, wait a minute. I realize something. You know what I realize? Every single thing in my life that means the most to me, that I have ever achieved or accomplished, required a hard battle and a fight. Or the things I had to fight for the hardest after I crashed and burned in my life. I had to fight for my marriage like never before. After I crashed and burned, I had to fight for my relationship with my 4 daughters. I had to fight my way through Officer Kennedy School in the Marine Corps. I feel good about that. I had to fight my way through law school and then passing the bar exam. Every single thing that means the most to me, that I feel the best about in my life. This story, right? The things I feel the best about in my life were the hardest possible things to achieve. And yet what? I sit here and I go, I want it to be easier. See, there's nothing wrong with wanting our stories to be easy. Expecting them to be is where we run into problems.